Okay, I got Steiny and other people in my ear like, "Goo, that get your standards up higher." Bottom line, with the moves that Farhan was able to make, I was all in. Now you got injured players left and right, hammies, my neck, my back, and watching what the Yankees are with that star power and the guy you flirted with, Aaron Judge, who looks just amazing in everything he does, I've kind of like, oh my gosh, the Giants need a star. But with that, I can compartmentalize FP and say, okay, you're not going to be that, and you're not going to get a guy like that or guys like that during the season. So the focus is like Minolta. It's still Operation Wildcard. But good Lord, after Matos, Ramos, and Luciano come up, there was excitement. And this is growth for me, and I wish Donnie was here in this sense. I predicted wild card. I got excited about the last 2 weeks in that road trip, but all that's gone down the drain. Now it's like reality is hit, and I don't know what to make of this giant losing streak, but I'm going to tell you this, and you go. I'm surprised that I feel like people I know, my brothers, everybody's jumping off the wagon, and the season has 100 games left almost, and we can go to social media, we can go to IG. Everybody was bought in 2 weeks ago. Why is everybody just jumping off the wagon, even though, FP, I know it's bad?
Well, fan is short for fanatic.
Look at you.
So, I mean, it's a dangerous way to watch a 162-game baseball season, to have high highs and low lows and get on that roller coaster. And I guess because of so many years of doing this, where you look at the 20,000-foot view, and you look at this team and their injuries. They had 13 players on the IL. That's the most in all of baseball.
I think that's legit.
These aren't excuses because it's who.
It means something.
Jung-Hoo Lee was their best player. He's gone. So whatever. Nobody cares about that, especially your competition. We do, because we love the way he was playing. Lamont Wade Jr. is leading all of baseball in on-base percentage. So you take those two pieces out of the puzzle. Michael Conforto was arguably their hottest hitter when he pulled his hamstring. Snell's been a disaster just because he missed spring training. He hasn't found his groove. He's got all kinds of different things going on where he's been hurt a couple of times. That hasn't worked out. Nick Ahmed solidified the shortstop position just by making plays alone. He's hitting 320 with runners in scoring position.
But he's hurt.
So he was getting clutch hits. My point is, they're not playing at full strength. They won 2 out of 3 against the best team in baseball. And I will stick to this. The Philadelphia Phillies are the best team in baseball. They won 2 out of 3 against the Phillies. Could have swept them. Should have swept them. It was close. Actually, they lost 6-1 in the last game. And then you could have won 2 out of 3 against the Yankees. You didn't. These aren't excuses. It's just, my point is, you'll never tell a fan how to feel. Feel how you want to feel. Right. Show all the passion. I love it. Yeah. I love it. But if you're going to be like, they're good, they're bad, they're good, they're bad, to me, it goes to July 30th, the trade deadline. If the team is scuffling at July 30th and they're not where you want them to be, and they're not in a position to upgrade via trade, whether it's a bullpen, whether it's a center fielder, whether it's a shortstop, whatever it is. If they're not in a position to upgrade and the season is lost at July 30th, I think then it's okay for everyone to lose their minds. And I think then you could start pointing fingers and saying some people might be in trouble. But until you get to the July 30th trade deadline and your team is whatever, it's hard to be this passionate about one series to the next series. Like last night, there was a lot of analysis about the game last night. For me, this opener thing, using one of your high-leverage left-handed closers that you could use in a tie game or a lead late in the game as an opener, that's hard for a manager in the sense that you would love to have that guy at the end of the game in a tie game to face Pavin.
Why wasn't that the case then? For the baseball simpletons, why wasn't that the case, FP? And you played the game.
It could be coming from up top with the opener thing. It could be coming from Bob. I'm not sure where it's coming from, but you would love to have your high-leverage lefty who's in tie games or head games available in the 7th, 8th, or 9th inning. A guy that throws 100 from the left side. In my opinion, I feel like you're wasting in the first inning. That's a guy that you're going to need late in the game. So, we can analyze, should they have walked him? Should this happen last night? The play at first with
I thought he was safe.
Yeah.
So did they.
He wasn't.
What happened to Ty goes to the runner? Because he was called safe.
No, but they tagged him on the head.
Yeah, I know, but he was called safe. So I'm just saying there wasn't a lot of evidence to overturn it. I was like, they got action. Anyway, he was out.
Yeah, and that would have changed the whole course of the game because you would have had your closer in with a 3-2 lead in the ninth. But these sound like excuses, but these are facts. When you lose so many key elements, and now you have a team where I don't know, Gleyber Torres is hitting 8th, would be the 3-hole hitter for the Giants. And you're looking at that lineup going like, that guy might be hitting 3rd for the Giants and he's hitting 8th for the Yankees. And you see the depth they had and you see how good they are. But then the Phillies just rolled through and their lineup, I think, is every bit as formidable as the Yankees. And you took 2 out of 3. So I don't choose to get on the roller coaster. I will wait for my opinion until July 30th or late July to see where this team is. And then, if they're 10 games out and there's no wild card in sight, and they have a losing record and they're below 500, I think everybody has every right to say whatever you want at that point. But until they get to that point, there's still 2 months to go before the trade deadline.
Yeah.
And I'll just let these series play out. Is it good to lose 5 in a row now? Are those guys grinding right now? Yes. Are we grinding as fans right now? Yes. Anytime your team loses 5 in a row, there has to be cause for concern. But I hear a lot of talk about Farhan this and Farhan that. And I'm not a Farhan defender, and I'm not going to sit here and say he's the greatest GM in the world. What could you defend? Well, I'm just saying, if you were on board in the offseason and you thought in the offseason that Farhan did a nice job.
I got my hand raised.
Farhan's not playing. He put a team together, and whether the guys that he got are underperforming or the guys that he got are injured or for whatever reason, I don't see how that's any executive's fault on any team ever. It's on the player, and maybe that's, obviously where I'm coming from. It's on the player to perform. So if you sign me, give me a contract, when I walk between those lines, I put that uniform on, it's up to me to live up to the back of my baseball card. And if the back of my baseball card says, I hit this with this many homers, I got to hit this with this many homers. Where I think a lot of players get into is saying, I got to hit more than this, and I got to hit more home runs because you signed me to more money than I've ever made in my life. And then you get the over-trying thing, and it just doesn't go that way. So if you were a fan of what Farhan did in the offseason and now you're blaming him for what's going on right now, I think you could make the argument that you're showing your lack of knowledge for baseball.
Well, what if
if you didn't like what Farhan did and you don't like Farhan, never tell a fan what to think. And you don't like him now, that's your prerogative. But you can't say he did a good job in the offseason, in my opinion, and say this is all his fault right now.
Can I go round table pizza on you and say, can it be a combination? And for me, that's what it is for me. And I can't front. I love those signings at the end. And you dance with who will say yes, right? And I know they were in on the big fish for whatever reason, just as a operation or as a franchise. They couldn't close the big deal on Judges. So I like the Chapman. I love the Jung-Hoo Lee. I love Soler. I was like, okay, the big bopper. And then you get the reigning NL Cy Young pitcher winner last year. FP, I was in here okay, that's a start. Those are 4 big moves. Okay, wild card at least. So with that, it sounds like you just described the micro and macro of the San Francisco Giants. And the boys in the morning, I feel like that Yankee series, not just them, it shook a lot of people, Giant fans, their cage in regard to doing inventory on what they have. And they don't have a Judge. They don't have a Soto. Torres, like you just said, he would be batting 3rd in this lineup. And when you do the compare contrast, and Wilmer Flores, no shade at him, you've won getting what you've gotten from him in the last couple of years, if you want to keep it a buck, FP. But it's one thing to get swept by the Yankees, and then you go face Ryan Nelson, who has, and if people are asking who the hell is that goo, he was the starting pitcher for the Diamondbacks last night, threw 80 pitches and had a home ERA where that game was at in Arizona of 6.75, and all the Giants bats could muster is 2 runs after being embarrassed for, to me, 3 consecutive days. You're right, FP. To me, that's a problem. Farhan, his name was not in the lineup. He doesn't pitch. He doesn't throw. But, my God, I know there are injuries, but when are guys going to start getting called out? And, who am I? I don't have the credentials to second guess. As a fan, I do, Bo Mail. But this cockamamie stuff, we played great. We hung in. Call somebody out, because that offense was impotent again last night, and you got walked off. And you're right, FP. Now it's 5 in a row. And my bigger point is, just for the season, if you can't knock Nelson around or muster up some bats, who can you do it to?
Well, I mean, I think everything you're saying is legit. I mean, I agree with you that there's a few players that are taking fastballs right down the middle and 1-0 counts, and I'm like, you got to be more aggressive. Like, let's get some A swings off early in the count and announce your presence instead of taking 1-0 fastballs or taking 3-2.
Announce your presence.
Especially in game one of a series. Like, let's go. Like, be aggressive and announce your presence. But until I see Lamont Wade Jr., Conforto, hopefully Soler figures it out. I mean, so I see all these guys 100% healthy and doing their thing. I can't get on them for losing to a 42-19 team like the Yankees. I think maybe the Phillies series got our expectations up. Like, okay, they beat 2 out of 3 from the Phillies. The Phillies swept them in Philadelphia. It's a different team.
4 games.
The kids are playing now. I mean, Ramos is looking like Elliott's going nowhere.
Yeah.
Like Elliott's a grown man playing baseball right now. He's not a minor leaguer anymore. I think Luis Matos has come back a little bit after his NL Player of the Week thing. But there's some kids that Casey Schmidt's swing is different. Brett Wisely's swing is different. So there's some good things right now. But I know what you're saying. 5 in a row is 5 in a row, and hopefully they can turn it around tonight. And I don't know why they didn't hit last night. That guy looked hittable, so we'll see.
Yeah. Oh, FP, we got some exciting giveaways. We got the Curry contest. Make sure to listen every day this week because every show will give you an opportunity to win a Steph Curry autographed jersey. Times to listen will be 7:30 on Bonte and Shasky show, 12:30 right here with Steiny and Guru, and 4:30 with Willard and Dibbs all week on 95.7 The Game. So be prepared for that. But again, FP, I'm with you. Giant fans, we want to hear from you. 888-957-9570. Where are you? And I'm not ashamed to say the barometer for me coming into this season was a wild card. But just for this moment, FP, I'll give you a pass for the Yankee sweep. And you're right. They took 2 or 3 from Philly. But let's put the rat on the table, brought to you by ATCO. That East Coast trip in Pittsburgh and New York, if you really want to put it on the autopsy table, they were down large late. Credit to them. They went Martin Luther King. They overcame. But the bottom line is they weren't just beating everybody up 8-1, 8-5. But my ears and eyes, when I read and turned on our station, the national TV, everybody was talking about the Giants, and they were excited about the contributions from the youngsters and Matt Chapman going Brooks Robinson. So where did all that go? That's what I find fascinating. Like, I ain't going to call it front running, but it's smelling like that because now everybody's mad and they're like, this is what we don't. But just 14 days ago, everybody was juiced. Look at Twitter. Is that just me or
you can't?
And you can do what the hell you want. I'm just calling you out.
If you're going by Twitter, I mean, is there ever a positive take on Twitter? I mean, someone's always going to find something wrong.
It's negativity at its finest right now.
I don't know, man. I've seen so much, and I've seen teams start poorly and win. I've seen teams start great and lose. That's why I go day to day, man. It's all about going 1-0. Okay. It's about going 1-0.
All right.
So that's all you can control as a player. Like
tonight,
what happened?
DJ Quick.
What happened last night happened last night. What happened against the Yankees happened against the Yankees. From a baseball fan standpoint, I thought the Yankee series was freaking awesome, dude. I got to see one of my favorite
players. Though?
For me as a baseball fan.
Okay, gotcha.
I got to see Juan Soto go deep twice, even though one really hurt.
Yeah.
I see Aaron Judge go deep 3 times. Like these guys are legendary players, and you got that. So from a baseball standpoint, there was a certain sick part of me that was getting off on Aaron Judge hitting 2 home runs.
Could you see how that could? Like your excitement
it was cool.
Even for a Giant fan, could you see how that would hurt him to look at something that you want to strive to be? This team hasn't had a star since Barry Buster Posey.
The Giants have never been the Yankees as far as payrolls and superstars go.
They got a top 10 payroll now.
It's just not. That's just not how they do it. The Giants are never going to beat people 8-5, like you just said. They're not. They've won 3 World Series with pitching and defense. In 2010, the motto was Giants baseball torture because they won every game 2-1. It was the ground attack, like Mike.
Well, you have to evolve too.
But I'm just saying, like this team this year at full strength is not going to beat people 8-5 consistently. They're going to win 3-2, 4-3, 4-2. It's going to be hard to watch at times because they're going to grind at bats out. I would love for them to be a little more aggressive offensively. But when you assemble a lot of guys that are trying to run up pitch counts and are known for their on-base percentage, like Lamont Wade Jr. to me is the perfect.
He was headed to the All-Star game. I feel like I could say that.
He walks when you're supposed to walk, and he gets big hits when you're supposed to get big hits.
On-base percentage, he was leading MLB.
There's some guys that walk so much they get passive at the plate, and they're looking for a walk in big situations. Lamont doesn't. He looks to hit in big situations, and he looks to walk maybe in situations where they need base runners. Like, that's how you're supposed to go about it. And he'll get off his A swing on a 1-0 fastball if it's there. He's not trying to go 3-2 every count. But I see a lot of guys very passive, very pensive, very chill at the plate. I would love for guys to just come out and just start flailing.
Let's talk about Pat the Bat, Pat Burrell, because Grant Brisbee had a article in The Athletic, and he was talking about the Giants lead MLB and taking more fastballs down the middle for strikes.
Yeah, that was 2 months ago, though.
Okay, that's what I'm. So if it's still going, is that on every player or is that on Pat? To make the adjustment, to do what you're talking about, be more aggressive.
I think that's the message right now. Pat and I are in touch.
Okay,
we
gotcha.
talk all the time,
right.
and he's working. He's got Casey Schmidt going the other way. He's got other guys.
Had a good time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. You could go by Grant. You could go by Grant. I'll go by Pat. And I don't think, like, what did they strike out last night? They struck out twice last night.
No,
and there was a time when they were striking out 15 times a game. I'm a big believer in if you put the ball in play, good things happen.
The two-strike approach has been better. Ramos is the poster
They're
boy.
Hustling down the line. They're playing the game the right way. I don't care who you are. If the Yankees had 13 guys out on the IL, they wouldn't have swept the Giants this weekend.
I'm going. I forget the.
These are facts. These aren't excuses. When you have I thought Jung-Hoo Lee was their best player. And then it became Lamont Wade Jr. was their best player.
But why did you think he was their best player? Let's just talk about Jung-Hoo Lee.
Because his routes were impeccable in center field. He was making great plays. He was making a pitcher work and fouling pitches off with 2 strikes. That's invaluable to run up pitch counts and have quality at-bats. Whether they end in a hit or a walk, a lot of times that's not out of your control. But for a guy to be consistently not giving up one pitch and one at-bat every single night and hustling everywhere he goes, and apparently a really great guy in the clubhouse and on the bench, that's a big loss.